Oh, hey guys. So I'm going to talk about some of these area formulas we've been going over in class. And right here I wrote triangle, parallelogram, and triangle. I'm going to cover all three of these. And yes, I have triangle here twice. So triangle, we measure the base of a triangle. And it doesn't necessarily have to be lying flat, but we measure this base right here. And we measure a perpendicular height. The most important thing for the height measurement is for it to be perpendicular to the base. And the reason for that is that when we discovered that the area was equal to 1/2, I'm sorry, let's write it the way we do in class. We take height times base and divide by 2, right? And the reason we do that is, hopefully you see that if we were to complete the rectangle around this triangle, and again we have this height is the same here, right? The area of this rectangle would just be, there the rectangle is just height. Let me draw it about the same size. The area of the rectangle, I'm doing the same color there, the rectangle would be height times base, and how much of this rectangle is being taken up by the triangle? Well, it's 1/2. That's why we so let me write that over here. Here we have area is equal to height times base. But the reason we divide by 2 is we can see this triangle right here takes up 1/2 of the rectangle it's inside. So let's go right from that to the area of a parallelogram. Let me just write triangle over here, triangle. And that's based on the area for a rectangle. So what about a parallelogram? I think most of you have this already. We have a parallelogram, and just like the triangle, one of the most important things is when we look at the base measure, whatever is assigned as the base, let me do that in blue, whatever is assigned as the base and has a measure b, let's say, we have a perpendicular height to that base. So what's the area of this? The area of the trapezoid. Not the area of the trapezoid, area of the parallelogram. I'm just going to write parallelogram. What's the area of this? Well, we did a couple constructions like this in class where we took, let me do it in orange, we took this triangle right here and cut it off and put it right here. So let me draw that new, we didn't lose any area. All we did was make this construction like this. Now what's the distance from that point to that point right there? Well, since we just moved this little piece to the other side over there, here we have the blue, right from there to there. And let me do a dark blue. Here we took this piece right here and moved it over here. So it's right there. Well, what's that distance? That distance hasn't changed. That's still the base, B. And what's the height of this? The perpendicular height to the base is h. And hopefully from that you can see, since we just have a rectangle, the area is just height times base. Can you guys shut that off over there, please? If it's going to beep. So we did the triangle, we did the parallelogram. Let's go back to another triangle. Let's go back to a triangle. So what about this guy? So again, we have a base. What's the most important thing when we measure a distance for height? It has to be perpendicular to the base measure. And why is that important in this case? So here's our h. Why is that important? Well, let's try something. We're going to make this triangle by doubling it into a figure that we do know the area of. Okay, so we're going to double this triangle. Here we go. So here's triangle 1. Right, here's my base. From here to here. Still, here's my height. And now I'm going to draw another one of these triangles. And I'm going to do it in a different color because it's not the same. Let's do it in this, I don't know. So this is supposed to be an exact copy of the original. Okay, and it's going to line up just like this. So let me just... What is the area of this guy? Well, the total area of this double figure now, this is just a parallelogram. If you do this, if you make your copies right, this side here will be parallel to this side, and this side over here will be parallel to this side. And then, so we have a parallelogram. We have a parallelogram with base B and perpendicular height H. Let me get rid of those arrows now. Okay, well, we just did that one. We just did that one up here. We just had a parallelogram with base B and perpendicular height H. So what's the area of our double? The area of this. The area of this guy is height times base. So what's the area of our original triangle? It must be half that. So let's go over here. The area of this triangle is, I'm just going to, height times base divided by 2. So this just shows you that this the area of this triangle is still height times perpendicular height to the base times the base measure divided by 2.